Hello, it's Philip Taylor speaking from Richmond Green Chambers in London. I'm looking at a book today which has come to us from Globe Law and Business. It's an excellent book in their series on family enterprise. This particular book, I've written a short review of it and I'm doing a short video clip. It's called Sustaining Family Enterprise, Meeting the Challenges of Continuity, Control and Competitiveness, and the consulting editor of the book is Richard L. Nava. I'll show you the book in a moment. It's come from Globe Law and Business. I'd like to thank Sean O'Neill and Nicola Hornby very much indeed for sending it to us for review. Elizabeth and I have given the title of our short review, Working in the Age of the Family Business, a definitive work from Global Law. And I'll say a little bit about the book in a minute. And much of it is to do with what they're actually talking about, certainly on the back of the book. Let me just show the book first. It's a hardback, purple cover, and there's some comments about the book right at the back there. You can see the structure, the house style of Globe Law is to produce details about the authors at the back of the book, because there are a number of people who've contributed. Again, there's a consulting editor and then the actual contributors are included. There's no index. It runs to 230 odd pages, the book. The front of the book, there's the house style again of Globe Law, which does it on its side. There's the basic blurb there, and then you've got the structure. It's, again, split into various parts. For instance, starting with understanding the power and constraints of family issues in family enterprises, managing intergenerational expectations, responsibilities and relationships in a family enterprise, and so on. And I think it's quite useful because a lot of businesses are based like this. There are 4 parts, by the way, in total to the work. And as I say, it runs to about 230 pages. Do have a look at the preface written by Richard, which sets out the purpose of the book. He goes back a little way, looking at media projects in Columbia University in the US, going back to 2008, so it's nearly 10 years ago. And then we start off with the various articles. You can see the structure there. There's a little bit of footnoting you can see as we go through, not a lot, but enough. And then there is numbering, a certain amount of paragraph numbering for subheads, and a few little figures, for instance, there. But there isn't a great deal. Some of the chapters do have a little bit more paragraph numbering, but most of it is just body copy that you can read. Now, in my short review, what am I going to say about the book? Because family enterprise is an important area of the economy, both in this country and overseas. And most people have a straightforward vision, of course, of the perfect family business. In other words, in the first place, they hope for continued strengthening of the company's financial and market position. Obviously, they need to do that so that it can support the lifestyle and the needs of family members from generation to generation. And that, of course, is the bedrock, if you like, of the relatively small to medium business. We're not talking of the very large businesses here. Some of them obviously do expand a bit, but we are looking, I suppose I could say, the bedrock, if you like, of what we have. And the second point is the wish, of course, for family harmony. We all watch television programmes and seen the bitter fighting on the boardroom as to what's going on between the various members of the family. And of course it does cause rifts. It's one of these big problems. And I can remember even in my own family that the basic principles have always been get it in writing. In other words, whatever agreements you've got, make sure it's all in writing, because that actually does at least set it down clearly as to what you do. I mean, that's just a general observation, if you like. Life gets in the way, of course, with some of these problems with family harmony, and obviously family members' short-term or individual needs can sometimes change the needs of the business itself, and in other cases, of course, family members strongly disagree, that's normally at board level, on the direction in which the company is going, or even sometimes day-to-day management of it. And when these conflicts arise, they act on a stage, if you like, where the family-controlled enterprise can seem basically to lead to insurmountable difficulties, and of course then the failure of the business. And that's really what one is trying, of course, to avoid. This book gives, I think, some quite interesting insights at a high jurisprudential level as to what we are, the way in which we might be going forward. It's a new book, as I say, edited by Richard Narva, and it follows up a companion guide to family enterprises, how to build growth, family control and family harmony, and an excellent successor it is too, in my opinion. The first volume gave us chapters written and edited by experts from many disciplines and located across the whole of the globe, so it's very much a global work, to provide what they describe as the architecture for enduring, continuing family-controlled enterprises. As I say, it's something about the characteristic of the human condition that we do have families involved, because it's all about that tight-knit group of people. It's not the public sector we're talking about here at all. It's about entrepreneurship and the way forward. The editor's intention, I think, with this second volume here is to provide sustenance, this is his quote anyway, to provide sustenance to those stakeholders committed to the core objectives presented in the title of the first book. So it does tend to need to be read in connection with the first title. And it does just that, in our opinion, in the well-established house style, which is Globe Law and Business, which they've created with their publications. Very, very clear, but also extremely helpful, I think, for a whole group of people involved in this area of entrepreneurship. The book addresses successive issues facing family shareholder control groups, and I'm not going to go into too much detail for this short review, but it looks at the enterprises they control that surface in what are called ongoing, mature, successful endeavours. And the audience for this book, in other words, people who should be buying it, the owners, directors and managers of and advisors to family-controlled enterprises and the families that control them. And I do think it's a good read. It's something that if you do have a problem with your business, I think this is a book that you might consider seriously buying. It's not an expensive book, certainly worth buying, because it may give you some ideas about the direction you might be going. We are living at the moment in very, very unclear times with Brexit, changing markets nationally and internationally, our relationship with the EU at an end. So I think this book is quite clearly something that may be of a comfort, if you like, to some of the people involved in these jobs. And of course it assumes that such enterprises have been launched, or at least renewed, as expressly, quote, family-controlled businesses or other enterprises. And that really is what the book offers us. And as I said, I think it's something that you would think would be well worth reading if, for some reason, you think you might want to look at the direction in which your business is going post-Brexit. I don't say that in a dramatic sense, but I think it's something we ought to think about, because like everybody else, the future looks extremely unclear at the moment. We don't know what potentials are out there, and this book, I think, will help. The publication date is cited at 2016, and I'm recording this at the beginning of 2017. There's the title again. It's a collection, as I say, of contributions, and these are the authors. I can't list all of them by name. There are a large number of them, but they're very useful, and they've been brought together by Richard Narva. Just opening the book in the middle, let's find something to just show. This is from David A. Hoffman, this article here. Mediating family business disputes. Well, mediation, of course, a big area as well. A primer for clients, family businesses, advisors and other professionals. Just taking that contribution alone gives you some idea. If you've got a problem, this is something that you might like to consider. The book would be something you might like to consider reading, because it might give you some insight as to where to go. Thank you very much to all concerned at Globe. Excellent, this series. I'm very grateful to be able to review them. Thank you. Bye-bye.